specifically the FGFR3 or fibro growth factor receptor gene. Our special guest today is Ms. Patel, who has a mutation in her FGFR3 gene called Dwarfism.
Hey children, I'm so excited to be here today to share my story with you.
Does anyone want to start off with any questions? Sanjita, what's your question for Ms. Patel?
Why is she so tiny? I'm practically taller than her.
Let's be nice, but yes, that is what dwarfism is. Ms. Patel, if you would like to explain to Sanjita.
Yes, Ms. Laughlin, I would love to explain dwarfism to the class. For starters, I have a specific type of dwarfism called achondroplasia. This is the most common type. Can anyone guess how many people this affects? 27.
300. 6 million.
Wow, those are great guesses. But the correct answer is 1 out of every 15,000 people to 1 out of every 40,000 people. Achondroplasia causes your legs and arms to grow short in comparison to your head and your rear. Due to this, you may have noticed that my head is slightly larger than normal, and I have weaker muscle tones, so I have to work extra hard.
Whoa. Hold on, wait a minute. Why do you have this? And will I be short for the rest of my life? Now, Peter, that's not polite to interrupt someone while they're talking. However, I will look past it for now as that was a good question.
Yes, now you can inherit this from your parents, but it's typically random. Although I did get my achondroplasia from my parents in order to be considered to have dwarfism, you need to be under 410. This doesn't affect my intelligence though, so don't think you can trick me because I have a smaller brain. In reality, I'm just as smart as your parents, even with the mutation.
Yes, Carly, do you have a question?
Yeah, you keep saying mutination. What is that?
Mutation?
Yes.
Well, a mutation is the change of the structure of a gene. This change will result in a variant form of the gene that can be transmitted to new generations. Oftentimes, this is caused by the alteration of a single base unit in DNA, such as deletion, insertion, or rearrangement of larger sections of genes or chromosomes. Wait, my mom told me that her cancer is due to a genetic mutation. Did she get it from her mom, and does that mean I'll get it?
Well, Peter, it's good that you already know a bit about genetic mutations, but that's not always how it works. It is possible that your mom inherited a proteomic gene, meaning that she was predisposed to cancer. But a genetic mutation can also occur through mutagens, like exposure to UV rays, smoking, bad chemicals, and many others.
Yes, but let's get back to Ms. Patel's specific mutation. How about we zoom all the way into your FGFR3 gene?
Of course. This gene can be found on chromosome 4. The normal function of FGFR3 is to slow down the formation of bone by restraining the amount of chondrocytes produced. These are the same cells that produce cartilage. The mutation increases the activity of FGFR3, severely limiting bone growth. You guys keep talking about genes, but what do they even do? Well, your short answer is that genes encode proteins. Specifically for you guys, your FGFR3 protein goes throughout the whole cell membrane, with one end of the protein being inside the cell and the other side being on the outer surface. This is important because it allows the protein to get signals from outside of the cell that control growth and development. When growth factors attach to the protein becomes activated, which leads to a chain of chemical reactions inside the cell that forces changes like maturing to happen. So for you, your growth factor doesn't attach to the protein?
Well, not exactly. It still attaches, it just becomes overactive. Okay, I think it's about time we make this whole lesson a bit more visual for you children. Ms. Patel and I have put together a few diagrams for you all to look at.
That's what a gene looks like as it goes through transcription. And this is what it looks like as it goes through the process of translation. As you can see, the RNA has a very large role in the process of DNA replication. It is used to communicate, transfer, and it is used as a structural component. The first one, called messenger RNA, or mRNA, is used to copy a gene by using its complementary strands to pass information from the DNA in the nucleus to the ribosomes. This process allows the ribosomes to make proteins. Next, we have transfer RNA, or tRNA. This type of RNA is able to attach to amino acids and pair with the mRNA. This is important because the amino acid protein is then able to be placed in the correct order that the mRNA encodes. The last type of RNA is ribosomal RNA, or rRNA, which structures the ribosome and it complements mRNA so that the ribosome can get protein.
Okay, I think I understand. So basically, each thing has a role. Each of their parts are different, and when they each do their job, the DNA is able to be doubled? Exactly, Katie. Wow, great job paying attention.
Now, there is another part that is called an enzyme. This one in particular has the name protein kinase. This is the enzyme that acts as the cell surface receptor for FGFR3. It catalyzes the transmission between phosphate groups on ATP and the tyrosine residues of many important proteins, making proteins phosphorylation, then signaling to regulate the cell's growth, differentiation, and death.
That was an amazing way of explaining, Ms. Patel. I also wanted to add that there's something called complementary base pairing. This is a sequence of nucleic acids in DNA that are complementary to another sequence of nucleic acids and are transcribed to make RNA. There is adrenaline, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. There's also uracil. However, this one takes the place of thymine in RNA. They also pair together with one another. So adrenaline pairs with thymine or uracil in RNA, and guanine pairs with cytosine. The mRNA is translated to tRNA by matching the pairs.
Now, I'm not exactly sure of what you have covered in this class already, but can anyone tell me what a codon is? A codon is a sequence of 3 nucleotides in DNA or RNA that corresponds to a specific amino acid. Very good. How about an anticodon?
It's a sequence of 3 nucleotides that form a unit of genetic code that in a transfer RNA molecule corresponding to a complementary codon in messenger RNA.
Wow, I am very impressed with this class, Miss O'Laughlin. They, by far, know the most out of any class I've ever spoken to. Okay, my last question. Does anyone know what an amino acid is? Is it some sort of building block-like thing?
Yes, you're very close, Carly. It's a small molecule that joins with another amino acid to form proteins. Like our class likes to say, amino acids are the building blocks of life.
Very, very good, everyone. These are very important for trying to duplicate your DNA. Now, mutations can occur in many ways. The first being an error in the DNA replication process. An error in this process can be called a point mutation, nonsense mutation, missense mutation, a frameshift mutation, deletion, inversion, translocation, or an insertion mutation. You can have one or many of these. A mutation can also occur from a mutagen or carcinogen. An example of mutagen is exposure to UV rays, smoking, and exposure to some chemicals. A carcinogen is anything that increases your risk of cancer. Finally, you can inherit mutated genes. You know those pictures you were using earlier to show us? Do you have one to show exactly how your mutation occurred? I'm still a little confused. I'm so glad you asked, Sanjita. I actually did prepare one for you guys. Now, the type of mutation I have is called a point mutation, meaning that one of the codons on my template stand was changed. Specifically, one of my guanine codons changed to an adenine codon in nucleotide 1138.
Oh, I understand now. Basically, because you inherited a mutated gene that has an A instead of a G, that causes you to have dwarfism?
Exactly right, Peter.
I'm glad it seems that you children have enjoyed our guests and are learning a lot. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but let's all give a big thank you to our guest, Ms. Patel. Thank you, Ms. Patel.
Of course, children.